To my knowledge, last time I looked at the definition of fascism, I think like the first sentence is like far right conservative. It might be like fact check me on that though.
Yeah, I will circle back on that. So I pulled it up here. I might be able to just hand this to you in a second. We've got the fascist negations, anti-liberalism. They opposed liberalism as a philosophy, anti-communism. They did oppose Marxism, though they had some overlap with Marxist philosophy. Anti-conservatism, an ideology and goals, creation of a new nationalist authoritarian state based not merely on traditional principles or models, organization of some new kind of regulated multi-class integrated national economic structure. So that would be like their new socialist system or national syndicalist system. The goal of empire or radical change in the nation's relationship with other powers. And then he goes into style of organization, talks about the exaltation of youth above all phases of life, things like that. This is Stanley G. Payne. You can look him up. He's a very renowned historian, still alive today. He's written several books on like the definition of fascism, the history of fascism, and stuff like that. And as far as is it left-wing, which of course we have that as a topic on there, when Gentile and Mussolini were writing about fascism originally, they identified it as left-wing. So in the political and social doctrine of fascism, Gentile says that formerly the right was collectivist and the left was individualistic. In his time, the left was collectivist and the right was individualistic. And we still see that today. Right-wingers like us were more individualistic. You know, we might be like libertarian leaning, stuff like that, individualistic, and the left is far more collectivist, and proudly so. And they also say that fascism is anti-individualistic. And that's what the symbol means, the fasces, fascism, the sticks bound together. It's all about collectivism. So they blatantly labeled it as a leftist ideology, and it originated from Marxist philosophy. You had Marx, then you had Georges Sorel. He was a French philosopher who was a heterodox Marxist, kind of a revisionist. And then from his ideology, syndicalism, you had fascism. Gentile identifies Sorel and Marx as the originators of many of their ideas. And when you get these definitions, see, you don't get all that nuance, right? You only get this nuance from going in and actually reading the historians and even reading the fascists themselves. Because, like, again, how are we supposed to oppose them if we don't know what they are? Like, I read Marx and stuff like that because I want to know, like, what do the communists actually believe? What do the liberals actually believe? I want to know what everybody believes because I want to know if they're right or wrong. And if they're wrong, I want to know how to keep them out of power.
How to keep them out of power. So
Yeah.
you're going to agree that all fascism is bad?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
I mean, I'm not calling him that, but that guy.
Why do you think Trump's a fascist?
Why I think so? Last time I checked, I forgot the author name, but it's like the 14 characteristics of fascism, right?
I mean, there's two different guys I can think of that did 14 characteristics. You might be talking about Umberto Eco, perhaps.
Other guy name, I don't recognize that one.
The other guy is kind of irrelevant because like he's just some random dude who wrote a blog post, like an op-ed. Umberto Eco is at least an actual academic. The other guy, again, like I just don't care about him. He's labeled as a doctor on one of the websites that shared his 14 points of fascism, but he doesn't have a doctorate in anything. He's just like a newbie amateur historian. But Umberto Eco, if I remember correctly, he's a medievalist. So like his specialty isn't even in fascist history. And I at least the 14 characteristics are more nuanced than just a blatant definition. But I would still say there's a lot of problems. Like even in the idea that fascism is inherently patriarchal, I don't even think that's necessarily the case because one of the strongest bases for fascist support was women. In fact, if the Nazis in Germany didn't have such strong support from women, they would have never taken power. And you can theorize on what that might be or what that might mean, but it is the case. I could cite the sources for that. And there was some fascist movements in South America that were much more like explicitly feminist.
If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to create clips like these fast, try Opus Clips. It's smart, simple, and built for creators.